Good morning and welcome to Tuna Commander J.R. Glapohkpa Chesson talk show. This is a beautiful Saturday morning, September the 2nd, 2023. What are the issues in Liberia? We woke up this morning with a fervent hope that there will be peace in Liberia during this electoral period. All Liberians want peace. We cannot tolerate nor condone violence in our country on a consistent basis. So as we wake up this morning, will there be peace in Monrovia, Liberia this election time? Other issues in our country involve our Muslims. Are we going to give them a holiday? Then also, Nathaniel McGill. Are the people of Margibi County going to reject this man? And of all these things, we know that this electoral process is being meddled in by EJS, our former president. And it's sad. It's so sad for our nation that this one woman is causing so much trouble in our country. From 1980 to today, 40 years, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf has attempted to destroy Liberia permanently. Permanently. She participated in the overthrow of our First Republic leaders, killed our president, executed our fathers, raped our mothers. Then that wasn't enough. After all the killing that was done during our 1980 coup and thereafter, this woman still came and brought war in our country. All that just to be the first female president of Liberia. Is that right? Now she said she's bringing the women together for some kind of peaceful thing. What kind of peaceful thing? You killed 250,000 of our people, your own people, to be the first female president of Liberia and Africa. And that wasn't enough. The very reason you killed our people was the very reason you came to power, to bring your family into our government, to rob us of our wealth and resources. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf is an enemy of the Liberian people. Let me bring my correspondent in from Liberia, Mr. Sam Wicker. We haven't talked for a long time, Sam. How you doing, my brother?
Yeah, good morning. It's been a while now.
Yeah,
We've been off the screen.
Yes, my brother. It's been a while. And welcome back.
Yeah, thank you.
So what's the big thing in Liberia?
And how was your holiday?
Yeah, man. I had a good holiday. It was mixed
That's good.
good. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So what's happening in Liberia, man?
Well, a good news from the start. More than 40 years now, bomb mines just shipped for first iron ore to China.
Wow.
There's a company called Chico Resources Liberia. They signed a consulting agreement with the Liberian government on the then president Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. It was $2.6 billion in the agreement. And because of the pandemic, the Ebola, the COVID, there was no time for them to work. But now they have just shipped their first consignment of iron ore to China. The company is called Chico Resources Liberia.
Yeah, that's
And
very.
it is expected, yeah, according to the agreement, they are expected to employ about 3 to 4 thousand Liberians.
So how are they shipping, transporting their ore from the mines to the port?
The rail has been rehabilitated, so the
Oh, they have.
train is bringing, yeah, train, yeah. Quite
So
recently, I saw them working on the rail, but it's okay now. The first stream has just landed at the port, and they're about to ship.
so are they sharing the railway with Acela Metal?
No, Asylum is far from them.
So that's a different rail,
Bongmar, yeah, Bongmar is far up northwest.
and they have
Asylum
their,
is down northeast.
yeah, and they have their own rail.
They have their own rail to Bikana. This rail from Bongmar to the port directly.
Oh, okay. From
Yeah,
Buchanan.
from Nimba to Bikana. And with this bond mines from bond mines, Bond County, the former district, to Monrovia Port,
Oh, they go straight to Monrovia Port.
straight to Monrovia Port,
Wow.
by way of Caldwell,
Mhm.
Louisiana.
Yeah, that's the old railway track.
Yeah, it's been rehabilitated.
That's good.
Though most of the rail were looted, scrap, but it's been rehabilitated.
Well, we got to improve our rail system because rail can not only be used for exporting and transport
Hmm.
iron ore. We got to look at public transportation using rail.
Yeah,
So that's one of the big things we have to study because it's a very, very viable and feasible means of transportation that we have not accessed or utilized in Liberia. The train
we
system,
haven't.
and that could solve many of our problems if we get
Hmm.
a good train system in Liberia that could travel all over through the counties, and that will help with the roads too. When you got a train system, at least the cars that travel on the roads of country carrying things, you know, they impact the roads too. So when you want to have road as a means of transporting goods and services throughout the country, it tolls on the road. It took a toll on the roads. Whereas if you have train system and other means of transportation, air services, people could fly their goods. The train could carry cars, all kinds of things up country, everywhere. So these are things we need to really, really pay some serious attention to. What's in the news again, sir?
In a wave of the electoral violence across the country, the international community, including the US, the EU, the AU, the West Africa, ECOWAS, and other bodies have warned, have calling for total peace, non-violent approach to this election. Because if we go back to the dark days, Ukraine war is on. We got other countries around the world where we have money fund to come in and send another peacekeeping force here. So they are cautioning us to be mindful and that all political parties work towards the affirmative agreement.
And Sam, right now it is scary because the prevailing thing in Africa right now again is coup d'etat. I was just listening to the news this morning. They were talking about Gabon, and they had the
Hmm.
president there, the man saluting like this and looking like this, all over. His eyes just go all over. I was like, what kind of salute is that? Your eyes supposed to be straight. You saluted, then you looking in the corner.
It's scary. Fear.
I mean, what kind of leadership we have in Africa again, man? I mean, we have a troubled continent. We have a troubled continent. And you know why our continent is troubled? Because we got a lot of foreigners who want to be Africans. You can't be a foreigner and want to be an African. You either be an African and be an African, but you cannot be a colonialist and want to be an African. The same thing with Liberia. We cannot be so much American and forget our country and heritage and the direction of our people. This is the thing that plaguing Africa today. You know, We got to decide. If you want to be African, choose to be African. But you can't want to be African, then you carrying the badges of colonialism with you. The same thing with us. We say we want to be Liberians. We want to have our own thing. We want to do this. Then we are carrying the badges of Americanism with us. What do we want to do? Who are we? We can identify ourselves. This is not the age of bullshit. And this is why my show is not for bullshit. I put it around the line. I put it in the line. You cannot want to be something, then you behaving like something else. Then you love everything about something else. It can't work. We're deceiving ourselves. There's no concept of Africanism. What is Africanism? We don't know what Africanism is because we never had any viable institutions for ourselves. Yeah, we have our little tribal societies and butchers and things like that, but those things are obsolete. Those things, when you're talking about unification and integration and bringing our people together, some of those things cannot be applied to our modern means of development and progress and advancement. Some of our tribal things are meant to divide us because under the tribal context, we are different nations to ourselves. The Baza people, the Crown people. We don't mix with each other. That's under our democratic process that all of us coming together to sign this constitution to say we'll work together as a society. We'll obey certain laws for our commonality, for our peace and stability. That's why we have all these laws, because we came together and signed our contract, which is our constitution. And our constitution is embodied with all these things that promote unification, integration, brotherhood, sisterhood, one nation, not different tribes. And we got to learn to accept this. We got to learn to understand this. We got to learn to tolerate this. That's what will change our whole society. And these people in our community right now, in our society, are not promoting all of these things. They're not. And when they come to our electoral process, we as Liberian people cannot play with it. We cannot condone violence. We cannot condone tampering with our election process. We know that no process is actually fair, 100%, not even the American process. There are glitches. There are failures. But the point is, how profound are those failures compared to the overall viability of the process? Nothing is 100% perfect. You will always have somebody somewhere who will beat the system, who will file a false report, who will who will vote twice or more than once, or try to be corrupt. You will always have that. You know, the system is, we are perfect, but nothing is 100% perfect. But the point is, are those errors profound enough to overturn the process or to impact the process in a profound way? If it's not, then they're minor. So don't think because the American process of election is always peaceful and good means that everything is 100% good. No, everything is not 100% good. But those errors are so minute that they do not have an impact on the overall process. So we can ignore them, or we can punish them and just leave them and ignore the process, that minute group. But in our electoral process, You have errors. You have faults. You have cheaters. But are those negative things profound enough to impact the overall process? That's the main question. And in most cases, in an honest, fair election, where people try to be honest, they do not impact the election. You may have 1% error, 2% error. Those are minor errors compared to 100%. You got 2% of the 100%. You don't bother with that. Those are minuscule errors. But when you have someone that 40%, 30%, those are big errors. Then that impacts the whole process. And that's the difference between our election and the West election. In America, there's more accountability because the people are more in tune with the process and educated about the process and challenge the process. Whereas in our country, our people are not educated to the process. They are beginning to learn about the process. Now we go into court. You see, they were in court recently with Nathaniel McGill and Tia J. And the court decided against them. Why? Because they were voters. Did you read the ruling of that case? The case
McGill didn't tell you what we learned that yeah, he's being cleared because the money was restituted. When he was superintendent, he mismanaged the money, and so he was clear now.
That wasn't why the Supreme Court cleared him. The Supreme Court did not even look into that matter about his stealing and all of that. What the Supreme Court said was, they look at standing. When you come to the Supreme Court, when you bring a case to the Supreme Court, you got to be involved in the case. If you're not involved with the case, the Supreme Court don't want to hear the case. That's what they call standing. That means you have a stake in the case. Now, the reason why the Supreme Court did not listen to these people because they were voters. These were voters from Margibi and Sano County that filed a case against letting Tia J and McGill participate in this October election. And what the court said was, you don't have standing. They didn't even look at his crime that he committed in, what year was that? 2018 or something? The court
it was before 2018.
Yeah, what time he committed the crime? The court didn't even entertain anything about the case because the court was looking at, do you have a right to bring this case to the court? You got to have a right to bring the case. You can't just jump up on the street and say, I will sue you. So the court look at the people that sued and ask them, do you have a right to bring this case? So what the court did, the court went to the NEC policy and rules to see who could challenge candidates for the election. And according to the NEC, National Election Commission rules, those who can challenge other candidates vying for positions are candidates themselves, the political parties, and those that have, who else? They said the candidates, other candidates, the political party, and some other consulting group or something. You got to go in there and read it. But the
civil society, you think?
Huh?
The civil society guys got a stake in there. The civil society.
No, not even the civil society. They were talking about.
Okay.
You had to be related to the parties.
Okay.
You had to be a candidate running a political party involved, or some group.
Or maybe some authorities from the county.
With the party.
Okay.
Having political interest in there. Not the voters. These people that sued were voters. They were not They didn't come from the party. They didn't come. They didn't say they were the candidates. They were just voters that got together, decided to sue, to stop TJ and McGill from running. And the court said, no, you don't have standing. Because what the court did was the court went and looked at the election commission laws and regulation as to who can file objection to candidates applying for certification to run. So they could look at it, the NEC regulation, and the NEC said only candidates, parties, and groups that are involved in the political process. They said nothing but voters. So the court said, no, you don't have standing. You can't bring a case. We don't even want to listen to you because the NEC does not give you authority to even challenge anything in the NEC. So if you can't challenge things at the NEC level, you have no right in court. So they went by the regulation and said these people have no standing. So unless and until a candidate who is running in that election sues or a political party sues, they will not entertain lawsuits from voters because the NEC regulation does not entertain challenges to electoral candidates from voters. So that's the same thing the court following. The court say, well, if the NEC don't tolerate your challenging people, the court will not give you that right either. So you have no standing. And they threw the case out. So that's why the court threw the case out. The court didn't even go into the merits of the case to listen to see what the complaint is or what you got to say. The court didn't even want to hear that. And this is some of the same thing happens in federal court in America. The federal court does not hear every case. If you bring a case, the federal court wants to know, do you have standing? Do you have a stake in this case? Are you one of the parties injured in this case? If you're injured and the court gives you standing, then you have a standing in the case. The court will hear your complaint and everything. But if the rule does not tell you you have a stake in this case and you can file a complaint in court, the court don't want to hear the case. Let somebody who has standing bring a case like another candidate or another political party or somebody that the NEC says can challenge people. So that's why they threw the cases out. And now
Some of these cases, excuse me, some of these cases, if I not just some of these cases, but all these cases go to court. It's the lawyer that take your case to the court, right?
yeah.
So some of the lawyers don't know the rules. They don't follow the kind of common rules and think they will just jump into carrying cases to court.
But people don't know. If your lawyer screw your case up, you can sue your lawyer. You can sue your lawyer for unprofessional practice because he doesn't know the law and he's taking your case, you giving him money, and he screw your case up because there are certain things lawyers should be able to do. And as a layman, you should be able to tell those things to be enough to be unhappy with your lawyer's performance, to want to get another lawyer to sue this lawyer. If you think that lawyer is bad enough, so you can sue the lawyer. So if you got a lawyer handling your case and the lawyer is so bad and incompetent, other people tell you, man, no, that's not right, man. Your lawyer, you check your lawyer. You go consult another lawyer. When you consult another lawyer, if the lawyer tell you that this lawyer has made some mistake or something like that, you can sue him.
Yeah, because the case about McGill being publicized all around. You want me to say one lawyer from McGill does not know the procedure to go through and they had to throw the case. And McGill is not living in McGill, he's in Musrata County.
Well, no case has been filed in that before, so you don't have precedents.
Okay.
What the law called precedents? You know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like in Liberia, when we have a case that we have no law on for, we look in the constitution. There's no law governing that case. Huh? The law is there. The law may be there, but you don't have a case in court where the court has decided. When the court decides something, it's called stare decisis. It becomes stare decisis, a standing decision. Nothing can change that decision. Like if a lawyer in the lower court, in the circuit court, make a decision in a case, no other lawyer will change that decision until you appeal that decision to the Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm.
So when it goes to the Supreme Court, then the Supreme Court hears the case and the issues in the case, and that's the only court that can confirm the judge's decision or reverse it. Okay? Like recently, the court judge reversed a case. Which case did they reverse? I think that was something in the Musu Scott case, something that had to do with the jurors. I think I can't remember. I was reading something in the Liberian jurisprudence just now where the court reversed something, but but that what will happen. That the only time any case in Liberia can be reversed if the judge in the lower court make a decision and it goes to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court find out that this judge made an error, and this is it can need to be reversed, then the court can reverse it and change it. But no other judge in the lower court will change it. It won't judge have. And secondly, if a case come up, we have no constitutional law on that case. We have no statutory law on that case. You know what constitutional law is, right? Constitutional law comes as the highest law in the land.
In the country.
No other law can be above the Constitution. No other law can conflict with the Constitution. If any law conflicts with the Constitution, that law is dropped, is broken down. The Constitution prevails. Okay? So, if we have a law, we don't have no law from the Constitution, we have no law from the statutory area. The courts can go out to jurisdiction that we support, like American jurisprudence. We can go to the American law and look in the American law and see if there are any cases similar to these facts in this case. It can be similar facts, similar issues. Then we can look at the rationale of the court, what the court says. And if the rationale of the court, of that court, satisfy the issues in that case, we can adapt that case for the Liberian case and use the same issues, the same rationale, and the same ruling for our case. Then that becomes precedence. That means a judge has made a decision on the case. And once that decision is made, it becomes stare decisis, a standing decision. We have precedence. So if any other case in the country comes up with the same facts and with the same issues in the case or similar issues, you can apply that same case, the ruling in that case, to that other case. That's how we have rulings that follow other cases. That's why when the judge said, well, under section 4 and 4 of this case, the court ruled this way. That means that there is precedence. The court has ruled that way before. And any other case with similar facts, that means what happened. Those are the facts.
Let me reference to the previous case.
Yes. Well, the same facts and the same issues.
Mm-hmm.
The court can use the rationale of that case to resolve any other case. So that's how the law is set up. When you have one case settled, that case serves as a precedent for other cases with the same facts, with the same issues. Okay, so for example, you say John kicked his dog, and somebody sued John for kicking his dog. And the issue is John guilty for kicking his dog? That the issue the court got to find out. Is he guilty for kicking his dog? That means the court has set up the issue. And from that issue, all the lawyers got to go look for cases that relate to that issue. Is John guilty for kicking his dog? So that's how we form the issue. When we form that issue, then all the cases we form got to back that issues. We got to look for cases for as far back as 1800 and 1400 if there were cases pleaded on the records. And you can find them. You can bring them. Then you also look for recent cases that have been held that use that same issue. And you use that. So that's how you find out the resulting cases. What did the judge say on the first case with the same issue? The Joe kick his dog. So after that case is resolved, now you have a standing decision. Any other cases where people kick their dog and they are brought to court for kicking their dog, the court will refer to that case, the issue, and the ruling to solve any other cases with the same facts. The facts is what happened. Okay, so that's how the legal system works. Okay, so the court will just not accept any case, even with this electoral process we got going on. The court has already laid the foundation. Who can challenge who? Go to the NEC ruling. Look at the regulation saying who can challenge other candidates. Who can challenge a candidate running for position? When you look at it, then you know what the court will decide, because the court has already said that they rely on the NEC regulation. So they have already laid down the precedents for that ruling. So anybody else want to challenge another candidate now, you got to go to the NEC and see what the rules say about challenging other candidates. And whatever it says, you know that's the law now, because the court has referenced the NEC regulation for challenging other candidates. So that's how the law works. The court has set the precedents now. So anything else, you got to deal with that. So what's up with the Mosu Scott case? I know they're doing jury selection now. Under the law, that whole process of jury selection is called voir dire. The legal terminology for that whole process is called voir dire, where the judge, the lawyers challenge the jurors, because you want to make sure that the people serving on the jury are not biased. They don't have any bad feelings towards any of the clients, because some people that's the government that called the juror pool. Every citizen got to serve as a juror. That our responsibilities. So you'll be sitting down one day, you yourself, you get a letter say, Sam, report to the Temple of Justice to serve as a juror. You got to go. That's your civil obligation to the court. That's the only way we can have jurors or people pay us. The court got to order you to come and do juror's duty. Every Liberian citizen is obligated to do juror duty. Okay? Except the court excuse you. You see, there was one woman they called to do juror duty in this case here. And she was telling the court, I can't come because I got a baby. The baby home, I got nobody, mama, baby. If I come to be jury and you sequester me, that means she didn't know what it was, sequester me. But if you're sequester me, that means the court lock the jury up in a hotel. Say you're not go home. The case too important. We don't want you to talk with nobody in the community. We don't want you to talk with newspaper or anything. So until the case ends, we'll lock you up in a hotel. Every morning we'll come get you, bring you out of the hotel, bring you to the court. You will do your jury work. After that, we'll put you in the bus, carry you back to the hotel. You will not go to your home. You will not talk with nobody in the public. You will be sequestered. We'll lock you up until the case ends. The court can do that. They will feed you. They will give you sleeping accommodation, everything, but you will not leave until that case ends. Why? Because the case is so sensitive. The court cannot trust the jury going out and even talking with your husband, with your mom, with your brother, with your little baby. Nothing. The court don't want nothing on the public. So that's what they call sequester. So the woman is scared. So she was saying, I don't want to be a juror in Mususka case. Then you'll sequester the juror and you'll lock us up and say we can't go home. Who will take care of my 3-year-old baby? Or 1-month-old baby? I just had a baby. So the judge got to decide. And whether the woman would be given relief or not. That's the justice call. So that's
Or
what
replace her.
Yeah, that's why I said get her relief. Let her go. But at the judge's decision, he could say no. Stay for the term because that's your citizen obligation. That's your constitutional obligation to do duty. So if people didn't do, if everybody come with excuse, we might not have no jury duty. You see, the same thing in America, yeah, man. But they used to call me every time for jury duty. And I just tell them, I said, I don't want to come there. I'm a different kind of man. You know, they will be guilty. So we don't want you. I said, you know, people who have recidivist crime, the recidivism, that means they can't stay out of prison. And I know them. I've been working there 25 years. You've been coming in and out of prison for 25 years. You think I will go in court and plead for you to get free? I ain't going to do it. And I'll tell the court, I said, that man is guilty. This is justice still. This is got to do jury. I said, that man, they're all guilty. They're guilty. The court says, still, we don't need you in here. I said, yeah, let me do my cover. I'm a jailer. I ain't got to come to court. I ain't do that civilian business like years ago. So every time they stop calling me at a point. Because I told them, I said, they're guilty. Anybody got recidivist crime, you can't stay out of prison. You call me to testify, you guilty. You're going to jail, you're going back. Because you saving me time. Why letting you come in the public for? When I be in the prison for 25 years and I seen you there going in and out for 25 years, you think I come to plead in court to put you on in public? No, you guilty, brother. You going to jail. You going to jail. 3 strikes you out and you in the street, you going to jail. So I tell them straight. I said they're guilty. So Mr. Chesson still when you come in. So I said, yeah. So at a point they stopped even calling me for jury duty. Because I told them, I said, anybody got recidivism, they're guilty. You know, I've been sitting in the prison, Sam. Guys coming in the prison on a new crime. And the boys in the prison already yelling, hey, you coming back? He said, yeah, man, I'm back for the next bid. I will be up. That man I will let go on the street again. No, you ain't going out, man. I'm gonna keep you in prison. Now, you just coming in prison on a new crime. Then your boss say you coming for this. You said no, maybe the next bit. You tell him, man, you're not coming for the crime on this crime you're doing, but you do it. You come in for the next crime on another.
This crime committed.
You just coming in jail, sir. And you telling the man you commit another crime on the next bit. When you get out of jail, you commit another crime to come in. And I'm hearing it.
Come back.
I'm registering you. I'm listening to that. You think I will let you out? Why would I want to let you out? Huh? And then what these guys do? And that thing blew my mind. The first time I was there, I was in a because when you're a correctional officer, we got a big prison system. So they assign you different places and then you get seniority. Then you can pick where you want to go. So the first time I worked in the charging room, they call it committing room, where you commit all the prisoners. Man, I was freak out with those prisoners, man. Guys coming in, hey, the other boys yelling, hey, Joey, you coming? Just come in, man. Why, you did that? He said, no, I didn't do that right now. I will do it on the next bit. I'm like, what? You're doing the next bit? I gotta let you out. You ain't going out, brother. So you see, the people, that's what you call recidivism. That means you have no intentions of getting out of jail. And Sam, how can I look at that man go to court and be a jury on your case? You guilty. I now hear you yell to other guys on your first bid. You coming in and you telling them when you get out, you're going to commit another crime to come in on another bid.
Another crime.
So how can you deal with that? That is petty criminalism. Why would we let that man out of jail? And he's not talking this secretly. He yelling it in the prison to his boys. The boys say, you coming in for stealing this thing? He said, no, I didn't make it this time. I'll try it the next time. I'm like, what?
So some of them find pleasure in being in prison.
Well, some of them don't have nowhere to be because some people, like during the summer, you can sleep anywhere. You can sleep in the street. You can sleep under the tree. You can sleep on the beach. You can sleep anywhere. It's not raining, except it's raining. You need to put a poncho over you, a tent over you, or something like that. But it's not cold. You're not dealing with ice, winter, and things like that. So you can sleep anywhere. That's why you see people in California sleeping. You see in California streets?
Yeah. I saw people on the street. Yeah.
All in the middle of the street, they're sleeping. Got their tent made up. Just sleep. They'll put your tent there and sleep. And why would disturb you? They will pass it around you. Yeah. So during the winter, it gets cold. You need heat. You need food. Somewhere you can hustle. They got different places I told you, in Rhode Island, they got places, people, philanthropics, good people who love humanity. They got people that feed people 2 times a day. They got a place called Amos House. You can go there in the morning, get a hot breakfast, get free food and everything, well cooked, well cared for. They're not messing with the food. The state inspect the food, the kitchen, everything. It's clean. You got professional cooking your food. You see, so they're not messing with your food. They're not just food with people. And people donate. My sister now, I get things when I'm working for the ACI and things like that. We got free food and things like that. The people won't throw it away. We take it to those people. Give it to those kind of organizations that will use it. Or when I get food I don't need, I take it to them. Those are places that help people in the community. So people give to them. I get clothes, I get food, anything I get, something I get extra bag. I go somewhere, I get extra bag to potatoes. I take it straight to Amos House. They call it Amos House. That's where the public go to eat. You got a place to eat. You got 2 times they serve 2 meals. You got a place to eat. Nobody gonna ask you questions. Who you are? Where you coming from? No, they ain't gonna ask you that. You go there.
Is it same as a soup kitchen?
Yes, that's the same thing as soup kitchen. But this is the organization is called Amos House. But soup,
Okay.
you don't eat soup. No. You go, you eat breakfast in the morning.
I
You
know
eat
now.
egg, ham, and coffee and all the things. Then at lunch, you eat a full meal. Maybe lunch will be from 12 to 2. Then you're on your own for the night. So you go hustle your night meal and go to sleep. But you got a full breakfast and a full lunch to hold you over. So that's why people go to eat lunch. Most of them serve two meals a day. But people gave to those organizations, you see. And during the summertime, the inmates, if you can eat, you don't got a place to sleep. You're in trouble. So they go to petty stealing. Steal from breaking people's cars or something like that. Then they give them time in jail for during the summertime. They throw them in for the summertime. They get 3 meals a day, hot cat, warm bed. So that's what they're trying to stop it. That recidivism. Go find somewhere else to live. Don't come to jail. We want that. So now wintertime the prison is packed, man. All the boys in prison. They call outside. Nobody want to be outside. They want to be inside. So yeah, but they don't want to be inside for more than 6 months. You see that strategy? That one now they hitting them with habitual. Because if you come in 3-4 times for petty crime,
Every time.
yeah, you're a habitual criminal. We keep you for 2-3 years now, 5 years, you ain't going out. So they're hitting them with habitual now. So if you come in 2-3 times summer, because you think there's a fun place there, we're hitting you habitual. You stay in now for 2 years. Bang, they give you 2 years. You ain't coming in for summer. Those ones, when they get out, they're not coming back right away. I meet them in the street, they say, Chesson, my life changed. I said, oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm not coming in there no more. I said, oh, yeah, they give you 2 years. Now they habitual who they come in for 6 months, then they go back on the street, then they be telling the stories about the prison that they're talking a tough guy. Yeah, you gotta get over. But if you watch some movies and you see like some of those black movies that show and the comedies, but the real life things that those guys at a party having fun outside, then they're passing the knives under the table, passing the kick and things on the table because they've been in prison for years and know how to do it in prison. So they on the outside, they think they behave the same way. They at a party, everybody out there eating. Instead of passing me the fork like that, they're passing it under the table because I had to in prison so many years, they used to it. So when you see the kind of show, you laugh, you say, that's habitual. The thing is fun. But it's a big thing, Sam, for people to go to jail. These young kids think it's a big thing. It's a big honor to be in the penitentiary. I've been in there, man. But
Why are people in America? Some of them trying to, live in behind bars, but in Liberia, it's a different story. I remember some time ago, this guy stole his brother's phone, and they asked him to bring the phone. He be damned, he didn't take it. He denied. So the lady that was passing, I said, "But I know this guardian secret. Just tell him that we take him to South Beach." And I had a guy confess because South Beach is terrible. The prison is so terrible, the guy doesn't want to go there. So he ended up bringing the phone. After he had received good beating, yeah. He didn't want to go because he know they can treat them.
You brought the food.
He brought the phone. And see, unlike in America or some developed countries, the prison facility is so nice. People find comfort there. They didn't want to be in the street because of a tough time. But Liberia, man, you dare go to prison. The criminal cry, he doesn't want to go to prison. Because they were gonna do all the all sort of them.
even in America, Sam, people don't want to come to prison. They got people that cry because anything could happen. Like a guy that came in prison, right, on a traffic charge. The guy sleeping, another crazy inmate in his cell with him, took the plastic knife, the plastic knife and fork.
Mm-hmm.
Took the plastic knife or cutting the
Yeah.
guy. You,
Oh.
how you cut somebody through with a plastic knife, man? The guy that seriously cutting the guy through with plastic knife. The guy woke up. Cut the guy, let blood walk up. What are you doing? The guy that cutting the guy neck, man. Hell of a fight broke out in the cell. You could hear them banging, and we don't know this fight going on, except the officer does his wrong. If the officer not doing it wrong, and the guy sitting in a bubble talking or playing cards or bullshitting, you could get killed. So the only way they heard the noise because the guy kept hitting the door, bang, bang, and when you hit the door, the whole cell make noise. The it woke the other inmates up, and they start banging, boom, 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 and people ran there and opened the door, man. And then the kid was just there for traffic, fine. And this guy was trying to kill him with a plastic fork, with a plastic knife. Can you imagine? How can you kill a man with a plastic knife? How long would it take you to kill him, man? You know how crazy it is, man. You there with a plastic knife? Why would you kill the man?
But the prison allow these things to enter the cell.
How you know? You don't know. Somebody you put a man in the prison, you don't know he's crazy or you act crazy. You put another man in there. Some guy just jump on and start acting crazy. That's why people scared to go to prison. Not because of the prison, because you don't know who you can be sleeping with.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know who's gonna be in your room. Some guys in your room, they don't like the bathe. We gotta go force them to bathe. They don't like to bathe. So the guy that they left banging, they think all through the night. They got no woman, but they let jacket off all through the night. As you in the room with them, you gotta listen to that. They call it choking the chicken. So I mean, you never know who you meet in prison, man. And you gotta luckily for you, in certain places you only two in a room. Certain places where you 4-5 in a room, people could gang up on you, my man. You sleep with 4-5 guys, they will beat you. Beat the hell out of you. You know? So that's the risk you take, man. And that way, if you got a bad officer on your shift who like to sleep, or friendly with the inmates and shit like that, you're in trouble, man. And they got some of those guys. Those are the bad apples. They got some real good officers, and they got a few rotten, nasty officers. I had to deal with some of them myself. My old lieutenant, I had to deal with some of them, man. And some of them, some of the guys, they do some stupid shit. You don't know what to do, man. You know, like I had two officers on my shift, man. They couldn't stop messing with one inmate, man. The inmate was a good banger. He bangs goats.
So they don't like him.
Huh?
So they don't like him, punking.
Oh, they just punish that guy, man. The two guys, I always had to be on them, man. I always had to be on them. Because as soon as I turn my back, they go on to the good fucker. And everybody knew that guy throughout the prison system. As soon as they arrest that guy, he entered the prison system, you hear all the officers, meh, meh. That means we got a good fucker in the prison. Meh, meh. So in every prison you go to, every prison he goes to, every prison they know him. As soon as he enter in the gate, you hear on the intercom, meh, meh. So we had these two officers, man. I had these two officers under me, man. Every time I turned my back, I was lieutenant then, right? I was running the shift. Every time I turned my back, those guys were going at that guy's cell, bringing up, hanging, crawling on the ground, kneeling on the ground. Had the guy doing some kind of stupid shit, man. And the poor guy used to be complaining to me all the time, Jesse, help me. And I used to go there and be blasting. I wrote them up and all. The guys didn't give a damn. They used to go there. Sometimes I come, they got a guy on his knees, outside his cell with his hand on his head. I said, gentlemen, what is this? What is this? And they would just look at me and walk away. I would tell the guy, get up and go in yourself. Then I got to go punish them again, the officers. Then they don't want to be punished. They won't fuss against it. Oh, Chesson, when you bunny, oh man, that man's a this, he's a that. I said, that's not your duty to do that. That's not your duty. You can't go be punishing people in the cell. So that's why people don't like to go to jail. Because when you go to jail, it's the kind of people you're going to meet in jail. You never know who you're going to meet. So those are the problems.
Were they doing it because of racism or what?
Who?
The guy who was punished is a black guy?
The man was
or white guy?
Yeah. Man, when you guys want to do things, they care you wear your black.
But why they hit that now?
They got officers that are racist. But if you find a bad officers, just bad, they're bad. They don't care whether you white, black, blue, they're bad. They don't like inmates, they don't like it. And those are the kind of guys you want to weed out of your area because they are troublemakers. Those are the people who can cause riots. Because all the inmates know them. As soon as they enter the area, the inmates start talking, man, oh, this man is back. They see where the officers are talking about the inmates talk about the officers because they know the officers. Some guys come in, the inmates will come straight out to me, Lieutenant, this guy is in here, he's a rotten apple. Well, I would see, I say, okay, I will look into it. Yeah, if they trust you, they will tell you anything. That was something me and my wife said down to be having like the other day we're having conversation about abortion. And there was a woman there saying women should handle their own abortion and things like that. And I was telling her I got mixed views because I've seen women who have had over 10 abortions. And they don't care about it. It doesn't bother them. I said, we can't have people doing that kind of thing. Those are lives they're taking. You see? And some women have no remorse. So we're talking that, and my wife was saying, and where you hear all of this? I said, I work in the prison. When you got women inmates and things like that, they tell you everything. They will come, you are the guiding, you are the, sometimes they will tell you something you don't want to hear. You will tell them, hey, that's enough, I don't want to hear that thing. But they will tell you it because you are everything to them. You got to listen to their problems, you got to listen to the issue. Sometimes you got to tell them that's enough information, I don't want to hear that. You got to tell them, or they will tell you. That's the thing about being a supervisor in prison. You like a mom and dad to everybody. So always man, will blow your mind. But some of those people need guidance. They need upline, especially if you're a supervisor. Like I was the supervisor, home confinement. And I had women under me, man. And the women would come and tell me everything, man. Everything. And I could advise and son. I said, no, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear. Stop it. I don't want to hear. Take it home. Take it home. I don't want to hear that. They will tell you everything. And you got to be understanding enough to guide them. Tell them what you don't want to hear and what you want to hear. Because you're their lifeline. Some of them need that guidance. Some of them need that moral support and direction. You got to give it to them. That's the counselor or supervisor. Listen to them. That's why I never work in the women prison, because those guys who work in the women prison, you got to hear everything. Those girls will tell you everything. They will, you tell everybody. And I have some guys can take advantage of them and lose their jobs because you got control of those girls. Some of those girls telling you those things to turn you on. They will tell you everything. So you got to be a real man to say, hey, I want to hear this. I don't want to hear this. That's why I never work in the women prison. They always try to play on your intelligence. And I was ready to punish them. So I said, let me get out of here before I punish these girls. I already punished them, sir. Because they come up to you with all kind of foolishness and know they're not supposed to do it. They're not supposed to do it. But they all gang up and try to test you and do that. And if you're not man enough to understand that you have a job to do, you can lose control of yourself. So these are all the things, in the prison, people, you got to be mindful, staff and inmates. But we really got to transform our prison system, because you can't rehabilitate people in that kind of system. I was going close up.
Yeah, so we didn't touch on the 11 political parties, the international community calling for peace, but we all adding our voice to them,
But we
for the
keep
total
calling for
peace.
peace ever since, Sam. Every time
Yeah, and
I hear that, would there be peace in Liberia?
yeah, and there's a call. We will continue to say it
You think there will be
till
peace?
there will be peace. We pray for that. There will be peace because the call from ECOWAS, from the international community, is getting louder and louder by the day. So we hope and pray that there will be total peace. One person has died already from electoral violence in Nima, other wounded. We hope that it doesn't, it won't continue until we have our peaceful election. May
Okay.
God bless this country and have a nice weekend.
Okay, I'll talk with you on Monday.
Okay.
Stay safe.
I'm, yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, my show is over. It's 1 hour, and I'm sorry we went over. But sometimes you have to touch on issues that people need to know about. So we try to bring all the issues to you, good and bad, because we can't always talk about the good side. We have issues in our country in Liberia that touch on the negative aspect in our society, and we have to address those issues too. So thank you for viewing. Take heed. Govern yourselves accordingly. I talk to you on Monday. Go to church tomorrow, please. Jesus loves you.